Husband cheated on me with our neighbor while I was pregnant. I'm feeling nothing. I'm numb. I decided to finally get this off my chest, even though this happened fairly. I'm a stay-at-home mom, or at least I was. I had my first child with my partner, a beautiful baby boy, back in May of this year. The new addition to our little family, including his daughter, from a previous relationship that I took care of as my own and refers to me as Mommy. I was so excited to have a family of my own. I've worked most of my life, including my entire pregnancy, so being a stay-at-home mom was very new to me. In the beginning, it was extremely challenging, but eventually I got the hang of it. My partner would handle majority of the bills and expenses, while I'd take care of the kids, housework, dinner, and make his lunches for work. My partner worked overnight shifts, so on top of taking care of the children, I was in charge of waking him up for work, which wasn't an easy task at all. Much like a child, he'd throw fits and yell as I attempt to wake him alarm after alarm. All the while I cook dinner and get the kids ready for bed. Eventually he'd wake up, but not late, it'd be too late, because then it'd be my fault. I will say my partner was mostly faithful, with some slip-up where I'd catch texts of him flirting with coworkers or old flings. And we had one big cheating incident a few weeks before I went into labor. Why I stayed, I don't know. Helplessness? Wanting a family of my own like I never had? I don't know. Maybe. After the birth of my son, things seemed to be getting better. My partner worked hard and was promoted twice in less than a year, bringing in more money to our household and boosting his ego. I continued to do my part: cook, clean, make his lunch, and wake him for work. One night I'm doing my usual routine cooking, making his lunch, and then I wake him for work. But this time something felt off. My intuition was telling me something. I tried to fight these thoughts, but I just couldn't. That night after he left for work, I went for my usual run after I put the kids to bed, having my sister look after them. I'd run through our apartment complex and to a trail not too far. Shockingly, while on my run, I saw my partner's car parked at a different part of our complex, and my heart sunk into my chest. Why was he here? He said he was going to work. I checked my phone, and lo and behold, his location was turned off. Funny enough, we only shared locations as his idea to prove his loyalty to me. He comes home earlier than usual the next day. I act clueless. I don't know what to think. He comes in bearing gifts, but I could hardly make eye contact because my mind is racing with suspicion. As he showers like clockwork, I check his phone. To my surprise, I see text messages between him and young lady who lives in the same apartment building as us. He's telling her how he's on his way to her to give her vitamin D. They just met the day before. My heart sinks. He had me wake him up, make him lunch, and look me in my eyes and said he was leaving for work. This was the ultimate betrayal. How could he do this? I hear the water stop. I quickly jump and put the phone back where I found it. This is where I go completely numb. He hops out the shower talking to me normally. I act oblivious and ask him about work. He says it was any easy night. I bet it was. Another day passes. It's time for him to go to work again. This time I check his phone before because I had that same feeling again. And like last time, he was pretending again. So I played along. I made his lunch extra special this time. I seasoned every dish with as much Morton's salt as I could. I filled his fancy flask with dishwater. I made his sandwiches that he loves so much with spit and old fish grease. I kissed him goodbye and told him I loved him with so much excitement. Later that night, when I went on my run and saw his car parked once again in the same spot, and I lost it. I went upstairs to our apartment and grabbed every messy condiment I could find, and I decorated his car. I filled it with the trash he'd been neglecting to take out. Dirty Pampers, rotten tissue, waste, etc. I blacked out. I couldn't wait for him to see the mess I made. It could be worse. This is the beginning of when you break a person. Boyfriend cheats with an Uber ride. How I found out. I need thoughts on this crazy-ass story. Had this gut feeling my boyfriend was cheating. I'd never pulled up to this house unannounced before, even though I'd had a spare key of his for almost a year. This particular night we had FaceTimed, and he was acting so out of character. He normally spent every Friday with me, but on this night he said he wanted to stay home and work on his music. The giveaway, though, was that he had his earrings, in which he never usually wears unless he's going out. I even questioned him about it during that FaceTime, and he responded by saying he was taking selfies for his music. He never takes selfies, or ones that I know about. Anyways, I try calling him back about 45 minutes after. No answer. Then I call again. TBH, after that first no answer, I just knew. My whole body got hot. It was about 1:45 a.m., and in my head I knew I had to go find out myself. Because if I didn't, I knew he would call me crazy in the morning. So I went to go and confirm it myself. My whole body was shaking on the ride over there. I kept trying to convince myself everything was okay, and he had just fallen asleep. But my body knew way before my mind did. I was always over at his house, and having the gate code was just super normal. So it was easy to pull into the parking lot, and with the key he gave me, I opened the front door without knocking. I knew if I knocked, he would have time to hide whatever it or it was he could be doing. I opened the door and noticed the apartment was clean. I'd never seen it that clean, and there was a stack of Uno cards on the kitchen counter, and a bottle of Crown. Gone. He doesn't drink. He shares this apartment with his roommate for context. Without really paying attention to his roommate's door, I noticed his door was closed, and there was music coming from his TV. I started shaking, but still hoping for the best, coping. I turn the handle to the door, and in that instant I am living in my worst nightmare. My boyfriend is laying there butt naked, arms around a butt-naked girl waist. I'd never experienced the wind getting knocked out of me until that moment. Obviously, he jumps up, I scream, semi-blackout from rage and shock. My grandma had passed away a couple weeks prior, and the trauma all came out. I'll save the dramatics for now, but fast forward 30 seconds. It hits me that this girl he was naked with is young. Not like 16-year-old young, but like 17, 20-year-old young. I know that because when I look her in her face, I become fully aware that I am looking at someone close to the girls I coach, who are seniors in high school. I'm just so angry at him that I don't even have time to be mad at her. She's screaming, I had no idea, and saying how sorry she is because her own mom had passed recently. She said this because I kept screaming and crying about how could he do this knowing my favorite person in the whole world was gone. But here's where the night gets interesting. After about 2 minutes of throwing the girl's Victoria's Secret pink bra at my boyfriend's face, I'm like, where did she go? So I run to the roommate's door and it's locked. And I'm like, well, that's strange. Then it hits me, the roommate is also in there with someone. I become so confused because I'm friends with his girlfriend, and I know that his girlfriend is out of town. So now I'm realizing both of them are cheating on us. Again, I'll save the classic dramatics, but I'm writing on here because the excuse my boyfriend used was that the roommate had met the two girls in Uber a couple days before, and the roommate brought the girls over that night, and my boyfriend said he decided to say, fuck it, and let her sleep over, knowing I had a key, and that I lived 20 minutes away. He's 30 years old, and he can't confirm whether she was 21. Like, he says she was. But when I say, how do you know, he says because she was a senior in college. This was a horrible event, but like I'm still so freaked out over the age of the girls. but men fuck girls all the time with the age gap. How worried should I be? He also claims that was his first time ever cheating on me in 2 years. What are the chances that I would know when he was cheating, if that was true? Am I the biggest clown? He also drives Uber a lot during the week. User, trowel, and error. Did you confirm the roomie was also cheating and tell your friend? The girl just run into the roommate's room? Hope you broke up with the guy. Sounds like a loser. OP replies, yes, my friend, the roommate's girlfriend, was on a bridesmaid trip. I called her as I was driving off. But of course she was out of the country with a time difference. What I didn't realize was that she was already catching on because her Alexa was in her living room and it notified her when her boyfriend walked in the house at 5 a.m. So fucking crazy. When I snatched my boyfriend's phone during the trauma, the roommate's texts were coming through in real time saying, "We have to get these hoes out of here." My boyfriend, of course, tried to cover for the friend saying some crazy excuse that I can't even remember at this point. In between him sobbing and claiming he couldn't get hard so he didn't actually fuck her, I blocked him, deleted him, blocked his friends, family members, etc. I haven't texted him since the day I left his apartment, which was about 3 months ago now. My mistake was falling for the roses and the cards the other day. Fuck. And yeah, the girl ran in there, which she probably did because she was freaking scared, LOL, and her friend was in there hooking up with the roommate. God. But I guess my boyfriend's roommate was her Uber driver. So how is she going to get home? Oh my God. SMH. Sex Kitty 13 says, his roommate brought these girls over so he had to cheat? I honestly hope you're smarter than that. OP replies, I'm smarter than that. But I also let him come over last week after 3 months of hundreds of phone calls, gifts, etc. I'm so embarrassed that I was played. Subscribe for more Reddit stories, and like the video or I'll find you.